I want to share some thoughts about Aberro Garcia before I go to bed tonight. But more importantly, I want to ask the question of all men out there. And this goes out to all men, not Republicans, Democrats, Independents. This goes out to all men of all races. What motivates you? What causes you to get up every morning and to do what you do all day long? I know what motivates me. It's my family. It's the idea that every day when I get up, I can work to not only help them financially, but to try to secure a better world for them to live in so that when I'm gone, they can reap the rewards of that fight that I had in me that tried to lead to more justice, more opportunity, more cooperation. That's what motivates me. And I think that's what motivates a lot of men. It's our families. So I put that out there because I want to ask the question, how does it sit with you to know that Aberro Garcia was ripped away from his family without due cause and was sent to a prison in El Salvador where only God knows if he's still alive or not? What happened today in the Oval Office was so much worse than even what happened with the president of Ukraine several weeks ago. It was so much worse than even that. The lies that were spouted there, the sycophancy that occurred in that office today, not only from the president of El Salvador, but from the people that serve in this administration who made a commitment not to serve the president of the United States, but to defend the Constitution of the United States of America. And as a man, and as a father, and as a grandfather of 5 grandchildren, it disgusted me. It disgusted me. Do you know anything about Garcia? Before you jump on this bandwagon of he's a gang member and he deserved to be kicked out of the country, everything Stephen Miller said today was a lie. It was a lie. This boy grew up in El Salvador, and the gangs in El Salvador were threatening his family that owned a business there. They were threatening to unalive them. He had a relative already living in this country who was a citizen who was living here legally. And as a 15-year-old kid, listen to this, as a 15-year-old kid, he claimed asylum here, came to this country under the asylum rules because he was in fear for his life in El Salvador where he lived because of the threats that his family was receiving for being entrepreneurs in the country that he lived in. He came here. He ended up getting married to a woman who had 2 children. They had a child together. And listen, union brothers and sisters, he was in an apprentice program. He was in an apprentice union program almost to the end of it, working his way through there to support his family, to be a productive member of society. And he was yanked off the street. And because he committed the sin of being Hispanic and having certain tattoos, which the administration and law enforcement misinterpreted as gang tattoos, he was yanked off the streets, put into isolation, and sent to this horrible prison in El Salvador. And the absolute gaslighting and insanity of them sitting there with those shit-eating grins on their face today, while this man's life is at stake. He's been ripped away from his children, from his wife. And their lies, them painting him as some kind of criminal gang member, which isn't true. Imagine if this was happening to you, men. Imagine if you were taken away from your family, from your children. And imagine if your character was destroyed because that's the only way they could justify what they did to you, knowing that it was all built on a pack of indiscriminate lies. Imagine if it happened to you. How would you feel? I don't know about you, but I feel the pain of all fathers when something like this happens, because I know how I would feel if one of my children had been denied to me, or if one of my grandchildren was being denied to me, especially if it was my own government doing it based on a lie. It's horrific. I mean, at a minimum in this country, can we not all agree as men, regardless of our political philosophy, our ideology, where we fall on that spectrum, that taking a man away from his family on trumped up charges and lies, can we not agree that that is wrong? Don't look at this man as a statistic. He is a dad. He is not a statistic. He is a dad. He is a father. He is a man that was getting up every morning to go learn a trade at a union job, and he was yanked off the streets. He was sent to El Salvador based on a lie. And now these grinning Cheshire cat bastards in the White House stand there and smile as they live off their government-paid contracts, with their government insurance, with their government drivers, living in their government-funded homes. And this man is in a prison in El Salvador where his life was threatened up until the age of 15 before he came here to the greatest country in the world, used to be, to make a life for himself here. If you're okay with that, if you think that's okay, then you don't know what it is to be an American. And I've got no qualms saying that at all. If you think that's okay, you don't know what it means to be an American. It's that simple. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. We live in a system of government where all three branches of government, the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch, hold equal levels of power. Imagine something for a minute. Imagine if the president vetoed a bill, a law that was passed, a bill that was passed by the House of Representatives and went through the Senate and went to the president's desk. Imagine if the president vetoed that and the House and Senate just said, we're going to make it a law anyway, and the Supreme Court went along with it. Screw the president. We're not even going to override the veto. We're just going to say it's a law anyway. Imagine how loud this administration would scream because of the denial of equal supremacy of the executive branch compared to the judicial and the legislative. Imagine how they would scream. Imagine the catcalls. Imagine the cries and the hues. And imagine how their supporters would agree with them. And yet the president of the United States is doing the exact same thing, playing a game of hot potato with El Salvador. Well, we don't have the power to bring him back. They can bring him back. And then they say, we don't have the power to bring him back. You can bring him back. It's a game that's being played to deny him the right to come back here, even though 9-0, the justices of the Supreme Court of the United States of America said that's exactly what needs to happen. Every single dad, grandfather, brother, uncle should be outraged. And I'm looking you square in the eyes, MAGA. This is wrong and you know it. It reminds me of the end of the movie with Matthew McConaughey when he's talking about the young girl of color that had been assaulted, and he gives his summary to the jury, and at the end he says, now imagine she's white. One of the most powerful movie scenes I've ever seen in my life. I put a similar question to you. Imagine if he was white. Imagine if he was you. If it was you that had been yanked off the streets. If it was you that had been sent to El Salvador based on a lie, and you'd been deprived of your children and your family and your wife. Unless you think it not happened to you, when the president thought the mic was turned off today, he told the president of El Salvador, build more prisons, because we're going to go after the homegrown ones next. Who the hell do you think he's talking about? It's you and me. We're homegrown. Wake up, push back, fight, never stop.